Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. We're a couple minutes late this morning. I hope you're doing okay. How are you today? Hope it's great and grand. Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. Good morning. On this gray and chilly day, that we're outside here. Doing all right. Good morning, everybody. I know we're a few minutes late. My apologies. The best. Hey, Linda. Good morning to you. How are you, gang? Hey, Jane. Good morning. Hope you're having a great day. Good morning, everyone. All right, let's get going this morning. It is the 20th day of March here at 11:11, and it is this Thursday, and I'm glad you are here and a part of this journey. That it is that as of 5:01 this morning, we crossed the threshold from 12 hours of darkness to 12 hours of light into more daylight than we have darkness, and that will be true for the next 6 months. So we are in this beautiful place of the coming of spring. That spring has in fact sprung, and so wherever you find yourself, whatever you have had on board this winter, remember that spring has come, and it is a reminder of, I think, the reality, even though we might not feel it. Like, we sure don't feel it today. If you go outside, it is gray and damp and cold, and it's gray and damp and cold right now. I can tell you that, but that we come out to that, but what we know, not just because the calendar tells us, but what we know in our being is that the days will get longer, that the warmth will come, that long summer days will be, and we'll be complaining about the heat before you know it. That this reality, even though we can't feel it right now, even though we can't feel it this second, this reality, even though right now, my neck is like, wah, when the wind blows like that, I know that we now have gone from one season in winter to another season in spring. And so I want to invite you just into that reality, to remember and to remind us that our states change, that we'll have good days, we'll have bad days, we'll have days in which we struggle, days in which we are, I'm just not feeling it today. We're going to have days that are sad and our heart breaks, and we're going to have days in which we are just singing and filled with joy. But no matter what the days bring us, whether in the ups and downs of life, that these seasons of life continue, and that these larger movements, the larger movement of God's bringing us from the winter of our lives, from the coldness of being, into the joy and into the birth of spring, is always at work. That the great beauty, the great invitation, as Jesus says in the Gospels, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. This notion that there is abundance of joy in the world, and yet it's so few of us are able to hold on to it for any length of time. But that this is the reality that is coming into the world. I'm I'm out here by the church, as you can see, alongside the lift out back there. Our workers that have begun work on the tower, and I want to bring that into this conversation because it's not just that we're a part of these seasons, that these seasons are rolling through, that we have just gone from winter to spring, but also that you and I, are participating in that. Well, you might say, I didn't do much to make the clock roll from 501 to 502, where we crossed that threshold from winter to spring in some sort of astronomical way. No, that's just rolling itself out, you might say. But what isn't is the building and the cultivating of the true and the good and the beautiful things in our life right in our midst. One of my favorite quotes, maybe you've heard me say it before, is that to maintain a thing is to be in the constant act of creation. And that we are called to maintain a thing through these changes, through this change and through this work that of God's broader work of taking us through these seasons, of God's broader work of taking us through these moments, of God's broader work of taking us from wintertime to spring. Well, it is our work to be workers in that field, to be participating with God. And so as our little guys here go to work on the tower and continuing to maintain and beautify it, I want to invite you to, on this season change day, to think about this in terms of your whole life. To think about it in terms of what are you doing to maintain the relationships of your life and build them stronger and build them more beautiful? What are you doing to maintain your connection with God and the way the way in which and to dig that deeper and to dig the well deeper and to be a part of that? Not in a way that's disconnected from the season, but the way that actually is a part of it. That is actually a part of that blossoming in spring and that vivifying and growth of summer and that harvest time of fall that God is preparing us for. What is it? What are you maintaining in your own life, in your own body, that you can lift up and point to a little more with a little more strength, a little more beauty, and a little more concentration? You see, this isn't just that these things are being worked out on us. These things are being worked out so that we can participate in them, so that we can be about the building of beautiful things in the midst of God working with us to do it, that we can become, as the promise is, as the angels are. And that's not to mean that we're going to be perfect, but it means we are going to be as an agent of God, a messenger, a bringer of God's love and God's grace and God's beauty and God's creation into this world. I have come. We had a program last night here at church, and it was 6 different churches are a part of our Lenten series. If you were there, or in our deacons did and other volunteers in the church did such a beautiful job of creating hospitality. It was really a beautiful night. Great lecture. The music was great. Everything was awesome. But what was fun for me too was, people from other churches coming into our space and and kind of seeing that moment in which they get to see the beauty of the windows or the magic of the electroliers, and being able to share that with other folks from other churches, and reminding me of, why we have these guys going at it, why we invest in this, why we invest in this place, why we invest in each other, so that we might be as God is. That we might be like just the way that God turned the clock today from 501 to 502, and we went from winter and cold and miserableness into this blossoming of spring. Now, are we feeling it yet? No, but we will. And the same thing that we're invested in creating in our lives. This movement of our own movement, from the winter times of our moment, the places we find a little snow packed up in our heart and we're cold, or a little frozenness in our thinking and we're just locked up, or even stiffness in our joints that we would come to tend to. No matter that we're called in the same exact way that God is working with all of creation to participate in it, to build and make beautiful the world, both in our church, in our place, in ourselves, in our relationships, in our partnerships, in our work and in our labors, and even in our walk with God and in our walk with Spirit. All of these we are called to cultivate the true and the good and the beautiful. Because, friends, to maintain a thing is to be in the constant act of creation. And what this day, moving into spring, reminds us is that God, too, is the first creator and the one who is in the business of all creation. And he invites us to come along with him, to come alongside him, and be creators in our own right. And so it's an exciting time here as we step into a new season, and I hope it's an exciting time in your life where you can step into some true and good and beauty, where you can step into the wonders of bringing goodness into your days. Peace and grace to you, my friends. We will pick it up next week with another 11:11.